It's great to get a new figure or make a custom figure or make a diorama from scratch, but when you have someone to share it with, it's a million times better, right? It's just a million times better when you can share it.
Hey everybody, it's David from Red Wagon Dioramas. I'm going to tell you a little bit about ChrisCon, the action figure convention that just happened in Taunton, Mass. last weekend, July 31st, 2022, and just give you my reaction to it because I had an absolute blast. It was one of the best experiences of my life, honestly. For those of you who don't know, ChrisCon is a one-of-a-kind action figure convention, like a Comic-Con, but no comics. Just action figures. The convention was located in Taunton, Massachusetts, kind of South Shore, sort of between Boston and Rhode Island. I did try to do a YouTube live when the event started, but my mic cut out on me, so there was like no audio. If you tried to watch that on the channel, sorry about that. So that's why I'm doing this video, because I'm going to intersperse some of that footage from the YouTube live, as well as a few other clips and photos to kind of give you guys an idea of what ChrisCon was. This is obviously from my perspective. Other guys in the team and other people who attended, you might have a different view and you might have different highlights. For me, I'm mainly a Star Wars collector. You can see behind me, these are my Black Series diorama shelves, which are still in total disarray because most of this stuff went to ChrisCon and came back and I haven't set it up again yet. Personally, for me, it was great to be able to show off my dioramas and share that artwork with other people who value that sort of thing. It's like having an art gallery and showing off your works of art and having people really love it. You know, the buzz after the show was great. I mean, I'll put up a bunch of little quotes here from people on Instagram that just sharing their feedback from the event. I think overall it was a huge success. It was awesome. ChrisCon is for toy photography and action figure collectors. That's really what it is. The vision behind ChrisCon is really relationship driven, meeting people, meeting other collectors, making friendships, enjoying the hobby together, like sharing the hobby with others. That's really, I think, the core vision behind ChrisCon, which really sets it apart and is going to continue to set it apart in the future.
So I went to ChrisCon and it was pretty awesome. I was amazed that it was just well organized. There was a lot of tables for vendors who sold stuff. They did a lot of giveaways. Toy Galaxy guy was there. Bunch of YouTubers and Instagram action figure guys there. I wish I got to meet everybody. They had some awesome diorama displays that you could use that you could bring your figures and use. They just had them set up and some of the guys brought their own, which were awesome. So I'll definitely be going again next year. I just wanted to say, for anyone who's local, if you are on the fence about going or whatever, I would highly recommend it next year. I will definitely go next year. I was thoroughly impressed by what Chris put together and by, the turnout. ChrisCon was great. I'd rather go to that than like Boston Comic Con, for real.
213-1157.
ChrisCon is named after my friend Chris. He is found on Instagram at TheCollector77. If you want to follow him, go check out his page. He wanted to change the name. He wanted to call it the Action Figure Collector Meetup and Convention. And we're like, you know what? ChrisCon is okay.
So after the last one, they're like, hey, when are we doing ChrisCon again? When are we doing ChrisCon again? I'm like, why do you guys keep calling it ChrisCon? They're like, well, because you organized in the last 2 years and it's going to be ChrisCon. I'm like, all right, it's ChrisCon. I don't know, whatever. I'm like, it's the Action Figure Meetup. Action Figure Meetup. They're like, no, it's ChrisCon. One of Dave's kids came up with a saying. He's like, oh, actually, they said ChrisCon stands for Collectors Have Really Interesting Stuff. And then the con was for, come on, nerds. I like it, so it's not. So anyway, so that's ChrisCon.
Chris is obviously the driving force, the visionary behind ChrisCon. This was his baby. All credit to him. He did so much work in planning and prepping and, hours and hours of work getting materials and getting all the prizes together, all the signage, the big banners and the poster, the backdrops, all that stuff. And of course, arranging all the vendors and getting the hotel. So props to Chris, man. You did an awesome job. You created an event that 200 people got to enjoy, which was one of a kind, brand new, from scratch. So that's awesome. But anyway, that's kind of the story of how ChrisCon came to be. We wanted a place to just socialize and show off our love of action figures, including, the collecting aspect of it, customizing, making custom figures, and dioramas. That's a big thing I'm into, obviously. And toy photography. Everybody loves taking pictures of these, awesome little people. We wanted a place where all that could take place in a more public setting where we could invite people in and meet lots of new people. And that's what ChrisCon ended up being. We had, I think about 50 or so people there involved with, vendors or whatever. And then sold about a little over 150 tickets through the door. So that was awesome for us. That was a great success. Obviously, it can grow and become much bigger, and we hope it will next year. We will be doing ChrisCon next year in 2023. So stay tuned for that. Ooh, the tension is high.
What do you think?
Lizard head?
What was that?
Is it the lizard?
Is it the lizard?
No!
No! It is Mr. T from Rocky, also known as Clubber Lang. So, you have 2 right and 1 wrong. Turn around.
Credit to Dan, Cubicle Collector, for landing Jeremy Gerard of Mythic Customs and Mythic Legions. I mean, once Jeremy agreed that he would come to the show, that was really like, whoa, this thing is serious. There's people going to come to this to get the figures, right? That really set us in motion as to getting a better venue and really doing the marketing push. Shortly after Mythic Customs signed on, Rusty, who's been in communication with Bobby Valla for years, talking G.I. Joe and customs and all that stuff, was able to get Action Force to agree to come.
So, Bobby, you were a little busy today, huh?
A little bit, yeah. Did a nice little convention in Massachusetts today. And I say little, but it was actually a really good show. Big turnout. Lots of Action Force fans. Sold a ton of Action Force product.
What's the name of that show?
It was called ChrisCon. It's named after the guy that kind of runs the con, but he had started as like not a convention, but more of like just like a meetup. Guys, toy guys, and then they ended up like having more people like myself and other vendors, agreeing to do it, and they got a bigger venue, and it was like kind of like a big ballroom at a hotel. So it was a pretty decent sized show. And
Red Wagon Dioramas says, "Hi Ryan, on behalf of the ChrisCon team, wanted to say cheers to Bobby for being a part of it today. Huge success and room to grow."
Thanks, guys. Listen, it was my pleasure. I appreciate you guys asking me to come, and I'm looking forward to coming again.
So with Mythic Legions and Action Force, we knew we had something going on, and it just started snowballing from there, and it was great. Anyway, all that to say, here's to many more ChrisCons to come. I hope you guys enjoy this video footage, and I hope it gets you excited for next year. And please spread the word, share this video, let people know about this one-of-a-kind action figure convention called ChrisCon. All right, behind me here is the diorama setup. This is my area of the room. Yeah, this is the Sentinel diorama that we put together just to kind of have fun with some X-Men and the Sentinels. Rusty from God of War Customs did most of the figure arranging. The Sentinels were mine, Chris's, and Jeremy's. And a lot of the figures, I think, were either Chris's or Rusty's. But it came together great. And then these are some of my Star Wars Black Series dios here that I filmed real quick. You can see videos on all these on my channel, most of them at least. My kids had a blast setting up the Jabba's setup. There's my family there with my table, stuff for sale. One of the highlights for me at ChrisCon was some of the folks I met. So here's some footage of me meeting Steve Evans for the first time. Steve is, higher up there at Hasbro. He used to be in charge of the whole Black Series line. That's him in the red shirt there. And guess who he's talking to? He's talking to Matt from Shooting the Galaxy, who does all the product promo shots for Hasbro Black Series right now. This is my friend Ryan again, Tuscan Traders on Instagram. I met him through the Star Wars Customs group on Facebook about 3 years ago, and we've stayed friends since. It's been great to get to know some of these people. These relationships start online like this, and then you meet people that are local to you, and they turn into friendships. It's great. I got to meet Emily from the Hasbro TVC team. Emily was just there, I think, pretty much to buy Mythic Legions to check out the con. But she was kind of to take a few minutes out of her day and show me some of the selfie figures she had with her, which was really cool to see. So I'm going to do a video on those later, give you my impressions of holding them in hand. I thought they were really good. All right, so walking around the front here, I've got the front desk. I've got Chris's sister here running all the tickets and the raffle entries. That's Chris's wife, Christy. Those two did so much work getting everything organized. They raffled off, you saw that a basket of G.I. Joe bats and officers and some other Star Wars raffles. This is Rusty's table here. Rusty in the far right in the black shirt. That's God of War Customs. These are all his G.I. Joe classified customs that he's made. He has done almost every character. Awesome artist. He does great work. I love his stuff. Rusty was the first local friend I met. I met him at our local collectibles shop, the Emporium in Easton. And we were talking one day, and he said, "Oh, I'm on Instagram. I do pictures." And I said, "Well, I'm on Instagram." And I had just started, YouTube and all that. And it was through my friendship with Rusty that I think I met Chris, and eventually started hanging out with those guys. All right, so we got some vendor tables over here along the sides. Lots of figures, a lot of modern stuff, some vintage stuff. The red shirt there, that's Greco Fabulous. You can find him on YouTube. And the Batman shirt is Sprooch, also a YouTuber. Those guys do a ton of toy hunting videos, and they've got some great content on their channels. All right, then we've got Almighty Legends. This guy is making his own custom, kind of like Mythic Legions, but angelic figures, like biblical angels, like armored angels. So that's pretty cool. To the left, we've got Mythic Customs. This is Jeremy Gerard. He's got an awesome YouTube channel. I'm sure if you're a Mythic Legions collector, you know his stuff intimately. A bunch of custom heads and accessories there, and then they had a whole table lined up with figures for sale. And guys, those, you can see the people lined up and taking selfies with Jeremy up there. Hey, there's my buddy Eric in the red shirt. He's the owner of our local collectible shop, the Emporium. And then on the other end of the ballroom here, this is where we had the toy photography station. So all of those are diorama setups. Then over here is custom figures, those black tables there. That's all the custom figures. We had a custom figure contest. You could bring in customs and they got voted on. You won some free figures if you won. We had a diorama contest. We only had one entry, so congratulations, Rusty, on your awesome Cobra Temple diorama. These dioramas you're seeing here are mostly like extreme sets and some real nice custom pieces too. Mostly owned by Chris and Jeremy, and I contributed the Star Wars one there. Yeah, look at that Egyptian temple. Here's the Star Wars setup I did with space walls and that cool light panel at the top. I'll show you guys how I built that later on another video. But we just set these up so people could bring their figures in, bring your own figure, take pictures of your figures in different setups, or use some of the figures that were there in the room and take some awesome shots. So I think this was a lot of fun for the toy photographers who came to the show. And this was a big part of what we wanted to do. Like, there's Bobby and his guy. They drove up, set up their whole 20-foot table spread, the same spread they had at Joe Fest a couple weeks ago, including, you can see the gray painted prototype figures down there. So they were selling figures like crazy. I know it was a good show for them. They sold a lot of product. All right, here's Jason with his customs. Look at that. That's all the 2099 Marvel figures that he made. That he pumped out all those customs over the last month or so. Here's the custom figures contest. So all these entries are from different people who came to the show. I've got the red and black Venom there. That's my Carnum figure that my son inspired me to build. And there's my Taunton. I might have showed her off before. The winner of the customs contest was Danny from New Hampshire, River Swift Customs. Joe with his Monster setup. What do we got? Here's Wilfredo. Wilfredo the Pork Chop. He was selling some figures. Another local guy, very active. And in the middle of the room, we had a stage set up with some chairs, and that was kind of the central hub of the room. Chris was up there almost the whole time, making announcements, talking up the vendors, talking up all the things that you could see and do at ChrisCon. And then he was running these little game shows that were just really fun. He had a bunch of trivia questions all about action figures. He was testing everybody's knowledge, and he gave away a ton of free figures, nice figures too. All right, well, that wraps up my live video. I'm going to follow up here with a few other shots. I'm going to show you a little clip of Chris and his speech at the end, because I think that really captures the heart of ChrisCon.
Like I said, it can be a lonely hobby. So the whole thing with ChrisCon started out for my desire to meet people with similar interests. So a few years ago, I joined Instagram. Follow me at @thecollector77. And I set up a page, posted pictures of my figures, and I noticed that people live locally. So I invited a couple of people, just a couple, over to my house, to my home. I didn't really know these people. It could have been murder, I don't know. But I took a leap of faith. And I was like, hey, why don't you guys come over to my house, bring a couple of your figures, we'll come over and we'll talk toys. So that was a couple of years ago. And we made fast friends. We shared common interests. And you know what? Sharing this hobby just made it so much more enjoyable for me. A couple of years ago, I said, hey, why don't we have a meetup? Not just invite us and the people we know. I go, let's try to open it up to people. This was back in 2019. I said, let's do like a little mini convention thing and have a meetup, and we'll bring some dios and take, so people can take pictures of them. We'll bring some custom action figures. And we had that in 2019. We had our first action figure meetup, and it was at Friendly Neighborhood Comics in Bellingham. So last year, 2021, we had another con, and I hosted it at my house, in my yard, because it was still COVID, so I'm like, let's do it outside. I opened my garage, I took everything out of my garage, I cleaned it for like 2 weeks. I hung all those posters you see in the back, I had those hung in my garage. We had dioramas up in the garage, we were taking pictures out in the driveway and in the lawn. We had some of the dealers, we had Muchas Gracias Customs came down, drove like 2 hours to come there. We had a couple of people there in my yard, it was great. We met even more people, we made even more friends. That's when, my collector buddies started calling it ChrisCon as a joke, but also because I was just so passionate about it. And this year we decided, I said, hey, you know what? Let's take it the next step. Let's take a leap of faith. I'm gonna rent out a space. And it's been an amazing day, right?
Yeah.
Amazing? Woo! Guys having fun? We got a great turnout. But again, this is a convention for collectors by collectors. That's what I kept saying in a lot of the promos, if you guys saw them. I hope you guys had a chance to meet some people today, to exchange emails. That's why I wanted people to have the name tags on, because the whole point of this was to meet fellow collectors, share your information, share your contact information, share your hashtag on Instagram. It's great to get a new figure, or make a custom figure, or make a diorama from scratch, but when you have someone to share it with, it's a million times better, right? It's just a million times better when you can share it. So, with that said, I'd like to invite kind of our core original group up here. We meet up with each other about every other month, but we talk daily. We've become the best of friends, really. So let's have Jeremy, also known as AKA Hooded Figure Collector, come on up, please. Dan, also known as Cubicle Collector. Where you at, Dan? Come on up. Dave, also known as Red Wagon Dioramas, please come on up to the stage. And Kenny, also known as God of War Customs, please come on up. And I'd like to acknowledge too Bruno, who's also known as Hidden Level Toys, couldn't be here today, but he's part of our core group as well. Our core group, for several years now, we talk toys, we help each other hunt for figures, we talk about the good and the bad of figures, and we've become like a collector family. And we enjoy this hobby together, and we genuinely care about each other, I think, right? So thanks, guys, for making this all happen. Big round of applause. These guys helped tremendously bringing this whole event together.
While he's doing this, Chris has been really the driving force for all this. Yes, we've all sacrificed some time to help him out, but Chris is really the one who's been driving all this. And he's been awesome too, because he's included us in all of this creation. So, it's fun for us, just like with everything he said. We've all been growing together as a group of friends, and the fact that he let us even be involved in this is just an awesome opportunity. So really, it's Chris who's been putting all of his time and effort in, and the games, and it all comes off of last year. It was just so amazing. So thank you.
Thank all of you for coming. I didn't know if anybody would show up, to be honest with you. Again, so I want to thank some people though. So first off, I want to really thank my wife, Christy. Thank you so much. You really helped me so much. You inspired me. You helped me write a lot of this stuff. You've been selling stuff here at my table all day. You've been selling tickets and raffles. So let's hear it for Christy. Thank you. I love you so much. Also want to acknowledge Jason Johnson for bringing his custom action figures and displaying them. Amazing stuff. Again, he's been with us from the beginning. He was there in Bellingham with us at the first get-together. So thank you again for showing off your art. Next, I'd like to thank my brother Bobby and his wife Lori. Raise your hands. Thank you so much. 2 hours away in Connecticut. They've been helping out all day, taking pictures and selling tickets, and really helping out. So thank you so much. I'd like to thank my friend Gretchen. Let's hear it for Game Girl. Gretchen, she came all the way from New Hampshire. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate everything we've done today. And last, I'd like to thank my best friend Meyer, who's here somewhere. There he is. Let's give it up for Thor, the God of Thunder. I love you, man. Thank you so much for coming and supporting the thing. I really love it. So, last I want to thank is you guys, the fellow collectors. I hope you had fun. I hope you got some good figures. I hope you made some new friends. Have a great day, everyone, and enjoy the rest of CHRISCON'22.
It was a team effort, and it really came about out of the friendship that we have as fellow collectors and action figure enthusiasts. So in that sense, ChrisCon was very pure, and I think that's why so many of us enjoyed it. It was just fantastic. It was outstanding.
Well, I just finished my few hours at ChrisCon, and I have to say, and I've been to many, many different conventions in my career, that was probably one of my most favorite. It was perfectly sized. It was in a good sized room, had a lot of hubbub. There was a central stage where Chris, the Collector 77, was holding competitions and quizzes. He gave a very emotional talk about the importance of collecting to him and his friends and his family. Just brilliant. Just brilliant.
It was everything we hoped for and more. So I want to thank you. Big thanks again to everybody who was part of it, all the vendors, of course to Chris and the other guys in the crew, to my wife and kids again, and everybody who had a part in promoting it and participating in it, all you photographers, all you collectors. Much love to everybody. Stay in touch. Stay tuned to the social media so you can find out about next year. And here's to ChrisCon'23. See you there. Bye.